by survey, we look at the issue concerning the EMIRATE TUSSLE.
Yes.
Because every day issues continue to unfold.
Yes.
Well, probably I'll just give a little brief background, especially concerning the different interpretation of the court orders that have emanated with respect to that particular case. Of course, after the balkanization of the Emirates,
yes.
By the former governor of KANO State, which effectively deposed the former emir, because the emir was balkanized into 5.
Yes.
That deposed and brought in Emir Bayero,
yes.
As the substantive emir of Kano,
yes.
with other 5 emirates.
Yes.
Then at the ascension of this new government, the law which balkanized the emirate was repealed by the House of Assembly.
Yes.
Effectively uniting the 5 emir to one,
yes.
and bringing back the old emir, Emir Sanusi.
Yes.
Then after this whole issue, the former Emir Bayero went to court, to challenge the law, which the repealment of the law. Why the case was still, the substantive suit was still going on, sensing that irreparable damage would have been done to him if Emir Sanusi is installed before the substantive issue of whether the law, the repealment of the law, followed the right process. He went to court to obtain an ex parte order from the Federal High Court.
Yes.
For them to stop the installation pending when the substantive suit would be determined.
Yes.
And the court seemed to have granted that order.
Yes.
Of course, but the Kano State government went ahead and they installed this emir, and he has gone back to court, and the court is saying status quo should remain. And of course, some people interpreted that statement to mean that the law that was repealed was null and void. That was what the court was saying. So what is happening
in Kano State? The crisis there, is one that I can say is caused by politicians. When I say politicians, I include the governors, both present and past. One thing we need to understand is this. In Nigeria and some other African countries, traditional institutions are insulated from politics. You don't politicize it. You allow the people to decide through their traditions, their cultures and morals, who becomes a traditional ruler. And the moment you allow politicians to infiltrate into traditional institutions, we are heading to very dangerous points in our polity. Now, the former governor of Kano State decided to create 5 emirates instead of what has been known over the centuries, over the years, hundreds of years in Kano State. Created 5 emirates and then removed the former emir and replaced him with Aminu Ado Bayero. Then the present governor, Abba Yusuf, went ahead to repeal the former law using the State of Assembly and then restored the former emir who was deposed, Sanusi II. Then the emir, Aminu Ade Bayero, went to court, and the things that unfolded are not palatable. First, the Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Lehman, issued an ex parte interim injunction. The injunction is meant to stay all actions, but in respect of the law and the restoration of Sanusi. But then we discovered that on the part of the governor and the Kano State government, the governor and the government said that at the time the order was served on Monday, that they had already completed the process of amending the law and restoration of the Emir Sanusi II. And in that context, you cannot grant an order against a completed act if their argument holds water. It means that that order came late, because if by Friday they had completed the act of the enactment of the law and the restoration of Sanusi II as the substantive Emir of Kano, and the order was said to have been served on Monday, it came late. But then the other side claims that the order was served timelessly, and that in view of the order, that the House of Assembly of Kano State, and was the government out of state action. And then on Thursday last week, Justice Lehman came up and gave a judgment which in clear terms, declared the restoration of Sanusi II as the Emir of Kano null and void, as well as the Kano State law 2024 on the issue of the EMIRATE. Of course, I listened to the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice for Kano State, Haruna Dederi, who said in analyzing the judgment that the judgment confirmed the status of Sanusi II as the Emir of Kano, that the judgment actually supported the posture of the government of Kano State on that matter. However, the Commission for Information has come up to say that the Kano State government has decided and vowed to appeal against that judgment. A lot of issues are going to come out. One of them is the issue of jurisdiction. The Federal High Court, we know, is a court of enumerated subject matter jurisdiction. It's not a court with unlimited jurisdiction. There are matters that are meant to be handled by the Federal High Court. Those matters are clearly enumerated in Section 251 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. And the question that we need to address first is, does the Federal High Court have jurisdiction over the issue of who becomes the Emir of Kano State? Is it one of the matters that ought to be taken to the Federal High Court? I'm aware that Kano State government raised that objection before the Federal High Court. And a part of the issues they are going to appeal on is whether the Federal High Court has jurisdiction to decide, to determine, to hear and adjudicate on the issue of a traditional ruler. Because traditional institutions, are not matters within the exclusive jurisdiction of the Federal High Court. It's not one of the matters there. And I'm aware that both the State High Court and Federal High Court, they have concurrent jurisdiction on the issue of fundamental rights. That is clear enough. But does the issue of chieftaincy or traditionals to fall within the clear provisions of Chapter 4 on the issue of fundamental rights? The answer is no. To that extent, the Federal High Court appears to me not to have jurisdiction to entertain that matter. But that is an issue that will be resolved by the court. Now, looking at it again from the angle of the governors, each governor coming and trying to put in one person, and another governor coming to, install another. I've said earlier that it's a dangerous dimension in Nigerian politics. There are traditional institutions in this country that cannot ordinarily be interfered with by politicians. In Edo State, the Oba of Benin is traditionals too. That governors of Edo State cannot ordinarily interfere with anyhow. You go to Anambra State, the Obi of Onitsha, that traditional institution has stood the test of time and clearly insulated from politics. The Obong of Calabar, and so many traditional institutions, the Amanabo in River State, and so many others. And that is the way it should be. It is not proper for governors, even local government chairmen, and other persons of authority to go ahead and they stop whoever they believe is their stooge as a traditional ruler. It is not good for our politics. It's not good for this country, because traditional institutions are there and they have their rules. I'm aware also of the calls by some traditional rulers that they should be assigned constitutional rules. And some of them are, eager to venture into the political arena. That also need to be treated with caution, because we know that the traditional institutions have been there even before what we have today as political arrangements, so to say. And they've held way over time. And to that extent, it is better for the traditional rulers to maintain their stand, be separate from, insulated from politics, so that they still have their respect. So that when they come out with whatever be their policies, from the background of tradition, from the background of the area they cover, the government ought to listen. And not a situation where a governor believes that a particular person will advance his political profit, gains and profits, will take steps to bring in that person. I think it's not good for our polity at all.
All right, thank you very much for that insightful analysis on all of this, especially this traditional tool and their importance in maintaining our democracy, especially them insulating themselves from the issue of politics.
Yes.
I'm sure that is why once you are made a traditional ruler, you are excluded from contesting political position, in order to maintain, because that is an important institution on its own, so it should be allowed to operate independently. So this is where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's edition. Of course, we want to get your last word on this two topics before we finally call it a wrap.
Okay, we have looked at two main issues this evening. The person you said you were going to call,
of course, because of time,
yes,
we will not be able to.
Yes, on the issues we have treated this evening, once again, I maintain that local government council must be put in place in accordance with the clear provisions of our constitution. And our constitution has guaranteed only democratically elected local government councils. So it is an aberration and a clear violation of the constitution for any governor to go ahead, resolve elected local government councils and put in place caretaker committees. And where there's such an aberration, whoever has done that, especially in River State and other states in the country, must take immediate steps to comply with the clear provisions of the Constitution as far as local government councils are concerned. And I commend the efforts of the Attorney General of the Federation, who has taken the matter to Supreme Court and is asking the Supreme Court to make order that where there is no existent local government council duly elected, the monument for that local government council should be withheld. I agree in total with that.
In compliance with the fact that the Constitution does not recognize caretaker
committees. Yes. Yes. And again, coming to the KANO State episode, it is really unfortunate that the revered traditional institutions are now being politicized. And you see, when Sanusi was deposed and removed, he did not make any noise. He quietly moved away. And Mino Adebayo took over Now, when Adobaro was removed, he decided to stay put and fight it out. And then the question is, the Kano State House Assembly, having made a valid law, and then brought in Sanusi II, and the government having said that that had been completed before the law, before the order of the Honorable Justice Lehman came into place, that they were in order, then with the Thursday judgment of the same Federal High Court, which they are about to appeal against. All we need to do is to keep our fingers crossed. But then, once again, it's better for our traditional rulers to stay clear of politics.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your insightful analysis as always. So